Welcome back to Himart. Grab your favorite drink and get comfortable. New stories are ready. Watch until the very end. My name is Danica Gross. 3 days ago, I walked into a bank with my dead grandfather's old passbook. The bank manager's face went white. His hands trembled as he reached for the phone. Lock the front doors, he told his assistant, and call the police. Now. He looked at me like I'd handed him a live grenade. It was the same passbook my mother threw in the trash, calling it worthless junk. She was wrong. Some secrets refuse to stay buried, and some of them have teeth. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's rewind. Until that morning, I thought the most exciting part of my week would be arguing with my landlord about my broken radiator. I'm 31, a paralegal in Columbus. I notice things. I ask questions. My family has always considered this a flaw. My grandfather, Eugene, was an accountant for 40 years, a chess player. He taught me the game on his farmhouse porch. His favorite saying was, "The truth is patient. It can wait longer than any lie." 2 weeks before he died, weak but sharp-eyed, he gripped my hand and whispered, "The passbook. In my study, the chess book. Only you, Danica. Promise me." I promised. At his funeral, my mother, Miriam, moved through the farmhouse like a real estate agent, calculating square footage before the body was cold. My brother, Wyatt, nodded along. I slipped away to the study. The book, Strategic Endgame, a master's guide, felt too heavy. Inside, hollowed out, was the old leather passbook. When I brought it to the living room, Miriam crossed the floor in 3 strides, snatched it, and threw it straight into the kitchen trash. "Garbage," she spat. "Don't dig through his things." That night, I couldn't sleep. If it was worthless, why the anger? Why the haste? At 5 a.m., I drove back to the farmhouse. I fished the passbook from under coffee grounds and funeral napkins. Inside, tucked in the spine, was a tiny square of paper in my grandfather's handwriting. Account 77,412,289. They don't know about this one. Ask for the full history. Trust no one in the family. Only you, Danica. The call started that day. Miriam, sweetly concerned. "You didn't take anything from the farmhouse, did you?" Wyatt, bizarrely chatty. "Just let it go, Danny. It's not worth the fight." They were coordinating. They were scared. So, I took a personal day and drove to First Regional Savings in Millbrook. The young teller took the passbook, typed the number, and her smile vanished. 20 minutes later, I was in the office of the regional manager, Theodore Calloway. He slid a piece of paper across the desk. The balance, $2,147,832. I made a sound no human should ever make. My modest, sweater-wearing grandfather had hidden $2 million. But Calloway wasn't smiling. In 2015, he said, someone attempted to access this account with forged power of attorney documents. The signature didn't match. The access was denied. Who? I asked, my throat tight. Miriam Gross. My mother had tried to steal it 9 years ago. She'd failed. Then came the real story. Calloway and his team pulled the records. From 2010 to 2015, Miriam, acting as Grandpa's caretaker, had systematically drained his other accounts, over $1.5 million. She'd had him declared mentally incompetent. He was trapped. So, he fought back the only way he could. In 2010, he secretly opened this account, moved what was left into it, and hid it. In 2019, he even filed a formal fraud complaint with the bank. But without the original passbook as proof, they couldn't act. He wasn't confused. He was building a case, and he left the key with me. Calloway called the police. 2 hours later, Detective Tabitha Jefferson from Financial Crimes arrived. Elder financial abuse, she said. The perpetrators are almost always family. Your grandfather fought back with patience and proof. The bank's evidence was ironclad, but the story wasn't over. 3 days later, I got a call from a man named Lawrence Whitmore, a lawyer, Eugene's friend for 40 years. Your grandfather gave me specific instructions. He said, if he died, I was to contact you, only you. I went to his office, a quiet place with wooden shelves and the scent of old paper. He handed me a thick envelope. Eugene updated his will 2 years ago, Whitmore said, after the fraud complaint. It's been in my safe. He left the entirety of his estate, including the hidden account, to you, Danica. His instructions were clear. It bypasses Miriam and Wyatt completely. They receive $1 each, as a token of their true inheritance, as he put it. He also gave me a letter, in my grandfather's precise hand. It read, Danica, if you're reading this, you found the passbook, you asked the questions, you finished the game. I am so proud of the woman you became. Use this to build a life of your own choosing. Be happy, and remember, the truth wins in the end. It just needs someone brave enough to find it. Love always. Grandpa. I sat in that old leather chair, the weight of it all pressing down, then lifting. He'd been setting this move up for years, the final, perfect checkmate. Detective Jefferson's investigation moved fast. With the bank's evidence and the new will, Miriam was arrested for grand larceny and forgery. Wyatt was implicated as a co-conspirator for his role in covering it up. The truth was patient, but it won. And me? I'm still Danica Gross. My car still sounds like a dying whale, but I finally understand my grandfather's last lesson. Some things are worth digging for, even if you have to get elbow deep in the trash to find them. If you've made it this far, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, your support means everything. This story isn't just about money, it's about the quiet battles people fight, and the love that can outlast even the deepest betrayal. Please subscribe. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I see you, and I'm so grateful you're here. The best is yet to come. Welcome back. New stories are ready. Make sure you watch to the very end for the final twist. Let's go back to the quiet law office of Lawrence Whitmore, my grandfather's friend of 40 years. Eugene and I played chess together for decades. Whitmore began, settling into his worn leather chair. He was the most methodical man I ever knew, so when he came to me in 2020, shaking with quiet fury, and told me what was happening in his own home, I believed him instantly. Eugene didn't make accusations, he presented evidence. He slid a thick, worn folder across the desk toward me. Your grandfather spent 4 years building this, Whitmore said, his voice low. He knew no one would believe a man declared incompetent, so he prepared for after. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside was a meticulous case file, built by an accountant at war. Page after page of forgeries, my mother's attempts at grandpa's signature laid bare. The loops were too practiced, the pressure unnaturally even. She had traced them. To a regular eye, they were perfect. To a forensic accountant or a bank's verification AI, they were glaring crimes. Then came the ledger. In my grandfather's precise script, a timeline of theft, dates, amounts, account numbers, a diary of betrayal. July 12, 2013, $45,000 transferred to household expenses. No invoice. August 3, 2014, $28,500. Medical care. Doctor never seen. And at the very bottom, a notarized affidavit from 2022. I read his words, and his voice filled the silent room. Asterisk, I, Eugene Gross, am of sound mind. My daughter-in-law, Miriam, has systematically stolen from me since 2010. She has isolated me, falsified medical records, and poisoned my reputation to conceal her crimes. I am leaving this record for my granddaughter, Danica. She asks the questions others fear to ask. I trust her to finish what I cannot. I didn't cry. I just sat there, hollowed out by the sheer weight of his lonely vigil. He hadn't been fading away. He'd been gathering ammunition. The next call from Detective Jefferson brought the hammer down. We followed the money, she said, and your brother wasn't just spending it, he was laundering it. Golden Child Wyatt, the investor. He set up a shell company, Garrett Holdings LLC. She continued. Over $600,000 filtered through it. He wasn't a beneficiary. He was a co-conspirator. The suits, the car, the condo, all funded by your grandfather's stolen life. But the most chilling revelation was still to come. A routine background check unearthed a ghost. In 2002, Miriam's mother died, Jefferson said, her tone flat. The estate showed $200,000. It vanished. Family suspected, but couldn't prove. No police report was ever filed. She'd done it before, to her own mother. My grandfather must have known, or sensed, the pattern. That's why his defense was so meticulous, so patient. He wasn't just protecting his money, He was building a case against a professional. For 2 weeks, I had to live a lie. Sunday dinners at Miriam's, eating her dry chicken while she detailed plans to sell the farmhouse. Wyatt held court, boasting about market insights born of stolen capital. Family is everything, Danica, Miriam said one night, squeezing my hand with performative warmth. Your grandfather would want us to stick together. Of course, Mom, I said, my smile like steel. Family first. Every call, every interaction, was an exercise in surreal horror. I documented it all. My grandfather's chess lesson echoed, the best move isn't always the obvious one. Sometimes you let your opponent get comfortable in their victory before you take the board. The arrests came at 7 a.m. on a Thursday, a perfectly coordinated strike. Miriam answered the door in her robe. Jefferson later told me the facade crumbled in an instant. This is a mistake, Miriam insisted, voice slick with reason. My father-in-law was confused. We have his sworn testimony, ma'am, Jefferson replied. He was lucid. You are not under arrest for a mistake. You are under arrest for a crime. Wyatt was cuffed in his glass-walled office, in front of his clients. His empire of lies turned to dust in that moment. The courtroom, months later, was cold and final. The prosecutor read my grandfather's victim statement aloud. The words hung in the air. His final testimony, she stole my money and my dignity. No one believed me, but I am not confused. I know exactly what was done. Miriam, sentenced to 7 years. Wyatt, 2-3. Restitution orders. Lives dismantled by the truth they'd buried. Afterward, Jefferson found me. He'd be proud. You finished his game. I felt no triumph, only a profound, quiet closure. Wyatt's lawyer called. He wants to explain, to apologize. Tell him I'm considering it, I said. I haven't. Some bridges are burned so completely, not even smoke remains. But Eugene had one last move. Back in Whitmore's office, he gave me a final envelope. He wanted you to have this when it was over. Inside was a letter, dated just before his death. My dearest Danica. If you're reading this, you did it. You asked the hard questions. I always knew you would. I chose you because you see clearly. Your brother learned his mother's shortcuts. Your mother sees people as transactions. But you visited an old man for chess and lemonade. You value truth over comfort. I'm sorry for the burden. Sorry you had to clean a mess I couldn't stop. But I needed someone with your strength to set it right. Live well. Build something good. Be happy. You are the legacy I always hoped for. With all my love. Grandpa Eugene. That was my grandfather's final gift. Not the money, though that allowed me to walk away from a life that no longer fit. It was the vindication, the proof that being the difficult one, the question asker, was not a flaw. It was a superpower he saw and entrusted. I used the inheritance to open a bookshop. Gross pages. He'd have loved the terrible pun. In the back, near the poetry section, there's a chess table. A photo of him hangs above it, next to his favorite quote. Framed in simple wood, the truth is patient. It can wait longer than any lie. Miriam writes from prison, letters full of grievance and manipulation. I don't read them anymore. Some narratives are too poisonous to entertain. Wyatt's world evaporated. The facade is gone. And me? I have a shop full of stories. I have peace. And every day, I'm grateful for the stubborn old accountant who taught me that the most powerful move is sometimes played long after you've left the board. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit the bell. The best recommendations are waiting for you on screen right now. Don't miss what comes next.